Hello and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith and today we are playing through the Doctor's Lab, which is the 8th released mini-campaign scenario for the current Gloomhaven Kickstarter. This is the document in front of me we're going to be playing. We've got our Craightheart and Tinker, of course, coming through the main doors here to be met by some living bones, 2 elite level characters we're going to have to take out. And then, of course, we've got the setup here. The only things that are part of the actual scenario in terms of the figures you're seeing on the map right now are the doors. They are really in place in the scenario. The weapons rack, the broken chest here with coins on the ground, and the stack of barrels are not part of the scenario and don't have tiles that correspond or tokens that correspond to them. They're just there for some thematic spice. So, going into the Doctor's Lab, we are going to follow the mysterious orchid. And that's the reason why we came into this place in the first place. And it's very simple. The goal is just to kill all the enemies there. So that's going to be our plan. We've got 3 rooms here, which we'll find out more about. And we've got a whole crazy pile of traps that Isaac has set up for us. So he certainly doesn't want us to get through here easily. We'll do our best to get through that, I hope. Let's start off with the introduction here. So we're going to go ahead and read this out for you. The introduction says, you follow the orchid into the darkness as he weaves a path through twisting and forking passages. Multiple times on the path, after you have passed through some corridor, he moves a false wall into place behind you to stop anyone from following. On the one hand, you feel safe, but on the other, you are totally lost and vulnerable. Eventually, the passageway opens up into a large stone room, and you see 3 more orchids sitting around a wood table, discussing a number of blueprints scattered across its surface. They look up at you as you enter. You are correct, Ashtooth. One of the sitting orchids says to you, to the one you followed, this is good. Using them is the most ideal plan. You start to object, but Ashtooth raises a hand to silence you. There is no need to speak. We will explain everything you need to know, and then you will execute the plan. It is the only way for you to escape this island. The orchid sits you down at the table and you begin to speak. They begin to speak. Their manner is different than the manner of those you encountered outside. They are far more calm and deliberate. The orchids explain that this island is not far off from the mainland where they are from, and its residents have become increasingly problematic over the last few years. Apparently, a charismatic orchid emerged from the mainland society and began teaching the true path was not one of knowledge and meditation. The true path was to follow her and embrace hedonistic pleasures, trusting that this prophet would take care of their needs. Our lifestyle is not easy, Ashtooth says, but it is necessary, and anyone who can call our people away from their task has nothing but evil in their hearts. The prophet must be destroyed. When you do that, her followers will disperse, and you will be free to leave the island without interference. If you do not destroy her, there is no way to avoid the ones currently looking for you. Creepy. Ashtooth explains the plan, showing maps of the old tunnels of ruined Quattro Fortress that lead into the keep where the prophet resides. You study the blueprints, oh my gosh, I can't speak, until you are sure you can find your way into her inner sanctum. The orchids assure you that the tunnels will be clear, but when you near the main keep, you run right into a group of patrolling undead and a passageway clearly trapped against intruders. Ugh. Which is exactly what you're seeing right here. All these traps and the 2 living bones, which we've just stumbled across. And that's pretty nasty. So, I've gone ahead and this is the scenario itself. I'm not going to show you too much about it, although I'm sure you guys can see it. There's a link down in the description below if you want to open it up to follow along. I probably should have said that earlier when I started the video, but there is a link down there for you guys to see the scenario layout. Now we're going to talk about the special rules for the scenario. So, special rules for the Doctor's Lab. Let's see here. Anytime a trap, which is A, is sprung, so A, just so you guys are aware, is all of these ones right here, the spike pits. Only these 5, just right here. If any of those are sprung, and they have to be sprung, in other words, something has to move into them to activate them, spawn a living bones at B. So B is actually right here. So essentially, if we spring one of these traps, living bones pop out of the ground behind us. So as we make progress forward, they're coming after us from the rear, which is terrible. Anytime a trap C is sprung, so that would be one of these 5 right here, then you're going to go ahead and spawn an ancient artillery at D, and D is actually sitting right center in the middle of this tile here. So if you're hitting these ones, spawning skeletons back here. If you're hitting these 5, then you're hitting the stun traps. Then you're hitting you're getting the ancient artillery on you, which is nasty. The spawns are all normal for 2 characters, so that's really all we need to read for that, because for us, we're playing with 2 characters, so every other spawn besides these 2 elites going forward from these traps will be normal, and then we'll have to see what we run into from these 2 rooms here. What's last? Door number 1 is locked and becomes permanently unlocked as soon as both pressure plates are simultaneously occupied by characters at the end of the turn. The door can then be opened normally. So the only way to see if you guys to understand what I'm talking about is to show you the actual layout. So this is essentially where we're at. The white spaces are where we can start. I've chosen to start at the front 2 spaces. We got the skeletons there spawned. We only had to deal with the top left gold quadrants of them being elite. If it's black, then you ignore it for 2 players. You got all of your A's and C's, which we just talked about. So this will spawn living bones, and these ones will spawn the cannon here. And then of course over here you've got one of the pressure plates, and you've got over here you've got a pressure plate. So they want you to know that up front. This is one of those scenarios where typically you don't look, like I would have tried my best to avoid looking at the next rooms coming up, but this one specifically says you need to hit pressure plates, so you kind of have to, or know they're in these 2 rooms regardless. So it kind of tells you a little bit that you, essentially the strategy is once you get to here, split up, right? Because there's no other way to get into this main room without having a character on this pressure plate and one over here in order to activate this door and allow us to get through and go in. So that is the setup. So we are ready to go. The only thing we haven't done yet is grab battle cards. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to split our battle card deck as we normally do. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab 2 cards for each character, and we'll pick and hopefully get something that's really, really handy. So we got the Purist battle card. This battle card says, use no items during the scenario. What? Are you insane? I've got so many sweet items. That's going to be difficult to do. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's easy to do, but I don't know if that's going to be, this is one of those scenarios that's very, very large. I think we're going to need that, but maybe we won't. We'll have to see. This one says, opener, be the first to kill a monster. Oh my gosh. So we got a similar battle card to our, I forget who had this last time. I think in the last video, maybe it was a video or 2 before it. I think we had this one, and I think it was on, oh, I can't remember. One of these 2 guys had it, but anyway. So we have those 2 for the Tinkerer, and then for the Cragheart, we have Fast Healer. Your current hit point value must be equal to your maximum hit point. So you have to be at full health, and full health for the Cragheart would be 14. And then this one says, Hunter, kill 1 or more elite monsters during the scenarios. Well, that's really easy. That one, I mean, we got 2 elites in front of us. So really, if we're going to choose one that's just brain dead easy, this is the one. So Fast Healer will go back for sure. Now, it's a little tougher decision with, just so you guys can see it, the Hunter one is the one I'm choosing, which is this one here for the Cragheart. But in terms of the Tinkerer, the decision is a little tougher because it's tempting to go after the 2 check marks. However, if I take a look at the Tinkerer's party sheet, not party sheet, sorry, but character sheet, ooh, that makes it really tough because we need only 2 more check marks to get to the next perk. Ooh, that makes it interesting. Should we risk it and go for it in order to get that or not? Now, if I do Purist, I'm not going to be able to use any of these items, and there is a ton of really good items. You know what? At the same time, this one's really easy. I don't know. I just don't know if this is the right scenario. Like, look at this thing. It's huge, and I don't know. We're going to be fighting a lot, and I'm just really thinking the Purist would have been a better card to have gotten in the prior scenario, possibly, when we were doing waves of enemy in more of a gladiator type ring. So I think I'm going to skip this one. I know some of you are probably cringing, potentially rolling your eyes, maybe throwing your keyboard or mouse through the window. But yeah, I went ahead and picked the easier of the 2. I just want to guarantee that we get it, because I don't think it's been a while since we've actually had both characters get their battle goal cards. And I know that that one's an easy one to do, per se, but it's not easy to give up all of this. And there's a lot of benefits to all of those cards that are going to help us survive. So we're going to go ahead. We should be able to get through the first turn, at least here, before we have to go to the next video. So everything's set up, ready to go. We just got to pick our cards, and we'll begin this journey down into the depths of the Doctor's Lab. Now, 2 elites sitting in front of us. Just so you guys are aware, scenario level in terms of monsters is 3. Our scenario level is still 2 for solo, but 3 is still the norm for our monsters. So we've got ahead. The only ones on the board we have to worry about is the living bones. The guys are the stuff on the right side of that card is what's important. So the 10 damage, the 4 in terms of movement, and the 3 in terms of attack. They can target up to 3 people. So in this case, they can max 2 because we only have 2. Although they could hit us if we had a summon, they could hit all 3 of us. And then the shield is going to always be there just to be a pain in our backside. So now we should go ahead and probably choose what cards we want to use. Now, these guys are 10 health, so they're not wimps, and killing them is not going to be easy. Now, we know that the opener one says that we want the Tinkerer to be the first one to end up killing, to get the first kill during the scenario. So we really want the Tinkerer to finish these guys off. Might be more difficult than I think, but one thing I was thinking of doing actually is we do have those volatile bombs, and if I chuck those volatile bombs, we can turn a single target ranged attack into the, to hit both. So that's really, really good. I think that might be really wise to do off the top. We can get 2 hits from 2 characters, which is really nice, and expend less cards on that. So for the Tinker, I'm thinking we'll do this. We need a ranged attack though, and it might be nice to try to poison them up front. So that way they're actually getting hit for more damage, potentially, because they got that shield, remember, which is going to be a pain. So I think the range 2, attack 2 might be the perfect one for right now. Plus it infuses the leaf element, which is also a huge plus, because that gives the Craighart over here a bunch of options in terms of consuming a leaf element in order to do something fancy, if we so choose. Yeah, actually, it's not bad at all. I like that. So we're gonna go ahead and use this. So it's an attack 2 range 3 with poison, and then we need something good initiative in terms of going very early. Now let's choose something on the bottom that can really help us out. So if we're gonna go super early, and we wanna make sure we kill these guys, then I think this makes the most sense. This one says here, you and all your adjacent allies add +1 to all your attacks this round. So that's just gonna make him just crazy powerful off his attack, especially if he's adding this bomb to it, right? We're gonna have that many chances to do some crazy stuff. So that's good, I like that. I like that as a starting point. In terms of the Craighart, we wanna do something that will allow him to consume an element to enhance a card that will do some damage. Now, I want to tell you guys one thing about strategy in terms of what I'm planning on doing with this massacre of traps that we have to get through, is there is one card that I added in by being a level 3 character way back called Clear the Way. And on the bottom here it says move 5, jump, and so that essentially means if you look at the rule book, you are allowed to actually jump past and ignore any kind of terrain that element that's in your way, but wherever you land, terrain element still takes effect. So if my strategy would be to get the Craighart from back here to here, and then at some point use the bottom half of this card. This card isn't, you lose it, but I can jump from here and go all the way 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, and it says destroy all obstacles and disarm all traps move through. The great thing about this is I can make a path of disarmed traps all the way through, which they are all considered for this scenario, and I didn't actually activate them. So I didn't trigger them, and as per the rules of the scenario, it says anytime a trap is sprung. So sprung meaning you have to have someone go into it, whereas I'm going to disarm them before they even can spring. It's meaning that there will be no spawns, and on top of the Craighart getting all the way over this side of the board, the Tinker can literally just follow that path straight through. So this is a huge card to have, massive help. So this is going to give me a huge advantage at the start, and I'm going to definitely take advantage of that. So that's what I want to hold on to. But in terms of the Craighart right now, we have the same situation. We have a volatile bomb. I could go ahead and use that. I just need to really just tag it onto something. So I'm thinking this one makes the most sense. This one will be really, now see, this is where it gets dangerous. If I go ahead and do something like this with the attack 3, push 2, that sounds nice because you can shove these skeletons into these things, but as soon as they do that, based on the scenario rules, I'm going to trigger a spawn of a living bones in front of me. It's just going to slow me down. So even though pushing these guys into the trap sounds like the logical choice, strategically it's actually better for my Craighart to use the Clear the Way card and get right through this whole thing, deactivating all of these things and not spawning a single thing. So we want to avoid you taking any card like Crater that would consume a leaf in order to push. Now, it is your choice whether or not you want to go ahead and do so, but still, there might be a better attack card in the first place. So that really is the question, is kind of like, do we want to go ahead and spend that off the top and then just not use it for that elemental symbol? I could just choose a different card because I really do like the push 2. I think it'll come in handy later. So for now, I'm not going to use it. But I will choose a different attack card, I think, at this point. Something that still hits them for a good amount. Ooh, this is nice. Massive boulder with a range, and see all allies and enemies adjacent to the target suffer damage. So this would guarantee some big hits. So that's nice on the top. And then what I can do too is I could use like, maybe I could get my retaliate on me, like I always like to do. So I can get my retaliate on me now, so that when we get down towards the end, it's just less things for us to have to deal with. I don't think there's anything else that he has really that's going to help him out too much on the bottom. This one would add +1 to all your ranged attacks this round, so that's nice. But remember, we're trying to get the Tinker to go. We're trying to get the Tinker to get the first kill of the, you know, the opening kill. So this is where the initiative matters a little bit. If I go with this one, it's 46. If I go with the Tinker, I've got a 61 and an 18. I'd almost have to have the Tinker go last in order to get that opener kill. And then I'd have to, yeah, and that's okay. It's bad in the sense that I don't know when the skeletons are gonna end up going, and that's really the risky part. Like in terms of all the cards that I have over here, in terms of what could or may happen initiative-wise, it might be worthwhile to, this is tough. Yeah, you know what? I want to make sure that Tinker's going later than the Craighart. So this is going to put us in an interesting scenario because we're going to have elites coming at us right off the top. It's likely they'll pull before us because these are such high cards. So let's go with that. I know it sounds scary. We're going to give it a shot because I'm really, really focused on getting this first kill to Tinker. I want him to go later. Oh, sorry. So I'm taking the Living Bones card here because the only one on the table. And oh my gosh. Okay, good. Actually, that's not bad. They're going, but they're not going to do anything except just shield themselves up. So that's actually perfect. So they're not, their heal is wasted because this is a great time to get that card, although it is a shuffled card. So that's a great card. Essentially, nothing happens. We just have to remember now that they have 2 shields when we go after them because they get the bonus not only from the one on their card for being elites, but also from the modifiers, or not the modifier, but the ability monster ability card. So now we can move to the Craighart. So the Craighart can move ahead with his plans. So we can go ahead and, let me think here. So the retaliate one's nice because if we don't kill them, then that will allow us to hit back. So we'll go ahead and put that in. We do what I normally do with this one. We put our first marker on the first location and it sits there ready to go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, I can see why this was a poor choice of, I really screwed up there, guys. See, the one thing that really screwed up was that I had the ability here that would have given me a +1 to all our attacks won't even be in play for this right now. So I guess that's a downside. So I may end up using that for movement or something different, but regardless, that didn't, what really screwed it for me is that I want to get this. That's what messed my plan up. So sorry about that. My strategy changed a little bit. So we're going to do this, attack 3, range 3, all allies and enemies adjacent to target suffer a damage. So first we're going to do this, volatile bomb. So we're going to use a volatile bomb. It's going to turn a single targeted ranged attack, which this is, into an attack like this. So we're going to be targeting both enemies. We're going to go ahead and pull modifier cards for both of them. Now I have Eagle Eye Goggles, so I could do this now. I might just wait because I don't really think that I need them just yet, although I'll probably regret that decision. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit them for the 3. I can't boost it with anything else as of right now, except for that Eagle Eye Goggles, which I'm really tempted to do. But on the first attack, I'm not going... The thing is, though, this is really handy because Eagle Eye, it says during your attack, gain advantage on the entire attack action. So you know what? I'm going to do it because it's going to ensure that the Tinker can actually go ahead and kill these guys. So let's get... This is the entire attack action. So action meaning the entire attack, meaning both characters get the advantage. So it's very, very powerful. So we're going to go after the first skeleton here. And we're going to flip. Remember, these skeletons have a shield of 2, so we got a lot to get through. So a +1, and we're advantaged by the Eagle Eye Goggles, so good thing. So this essentially means we get the +1, so the +1 goes on the 3, so now we have 4. From the 4 damage, 2 of it's sucked up by the shield, so we get 2 damage through. Really not that big of a hit. So not bad, but we avoided a -2 that would come up in the next hit on this guy. So we're going to go ahead and attack number 2 now. Doing the exact same thing. It's in again, just so you guys can see this, it says during your attack, gain advantage on the entire attack action. So it's the entire action of attacking. And we're gonna go ahead and pick this, so a 0, and hopefully we get something better on the second. Nice, +1, so we got a 4 again, minus the 2. Gives us minus the 2 from the shields, gives us another 2 damage. So we end up using the Eagle Eye Goggles, got a little bit of damage on him. The Volatile Bomb now has been consumed and used, and this gets discarded for its top ability. We do also have this as well, and it says, all allies and enemies adjacent to the target suffer 1 damage. Now, the interesting part about this is that we're comboing it with this card. So my belief would be that by turning a single targeted range attack into an area effect, this ability here that says all allies adjacent to the target suffer a damage, because we were able to attack both of them with this massive boulder, we actually get a damage on both characters. So it's going to go ahead and put a damage on the first and a damage on the second. So that's very handy. We close those over. That can't be used again. This is discarded. We're done. Now we move to the Tinker. Tinker is last to go, but is looking forward to his attack as well. So we're going to go ahead now and use this. You and all your adjacent allies get +1. So this is going to only benefit the Tinker for now. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to attack using this. We are going to use the Volatile Bomb, same situation. So we're going to put this on here. So it's going to be an attack of 3, and we're able to target both. Now the other thing I want to say is I could potentially use my sword as well. And it says during your melee attack, add a wound to the single attack. So I'm going to do this as well, and I'm going to do it for the first attack. So this is going to happen against this guy. So we're going to go ahead, it's an attack 2. We're going to go ahead and pull a modifier for the attack 2, or sorry, it's an attack 2 plus 1 is 3. And then we're going to go ahead and see what happens. 0. Okay, so we got a 0. So essentially it was going at him with a 3. He has 2 shields, so only 1 gets through, but even though only 1 gets through, he's going to now be poisoned. He's poisoned because of the Toxic Bolt. So number 1 is now poisoned. And he's wounded because I exhausted this card. And it says during your melee attack, add a wound. It's not the entire attack action, it's just a melee attack. So I just chose for 1 attack. I was going to go ahead and wound him, so that wound now is going to go here against him as well. And then we're going to go ahead and do the second attack using the Volatile Bomb on this guy and see if we can pull up something decent. Hopefully better than a 0. Okay, we got a 4, so that's going to be 2 damage because 4 minus the 2 shield is 2. So now at this point, actually I'll just remove all this because it's now a 5. We've got 4 damage on the first skeleton and 5 damage on the second skeleton. So basically we're halfway to killing them. So that's not bad. This is going to again be consumed. We got our sword is exhausted, as you can see, tapped over on its side. This card here is now going to be discarded, and of course our enhancement field is now done, so it's discarded. And that's it. So we've covered the first scenario. What I'm going to have to do between the video is I'll be reshuffling all these cards that have this symbol. Nothing to weigh down in terms of cards over here. However, we did do this attack. So at the time, this element should have been up to the strong when he did his attack. So now this would wane down to the waning column, so it'd be there. And other than that, I think that's it. I think we've covered it all. This is going to get shuffled back in. We didn't pull any shuffle modifier cards for these, so we're good to go. So hope you guys enjoy so far. This covered a lot in the first video, packed it all in. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and there'll be continuing videos as we rip through the Doctor's Lab. So until the next episode, guys, thanks for watching, and keep rolling solo.